We shall respond. That is what Joe Biden is saying in response to 3 American service members killed over the weekend in Jordan. The unmanned drone attack was deployed in the early morning hours while U.S. troops were in their sleeping quarters at a base in the northeastern part of that country. Another 34 service members were injured, including 8 who had to be evacuated due to the seriousness of their injuries. The administration is blaming radical Iran-backed militant groups operating in Syria and Iraq for the deadly attack, which spared Jordanian soldiers. The base where the attack occurred sits very close to the Jordanian border with Syria. Reports now say the drone was initially mistaken for a U.S. one, and that is how it was allowed to get past security defenses. But when Biden says we shall respond, what does he mean by that? Our supposed deterrence measures aren't working in the broader Middle East. Since war broke out between Israel and Hamas in October, Iranian proxy groups have injured dozens of Americans stationed in Iraq, and shipping through the Red Sea is almost impossible now due to Houthi attacks, which escalated on Friday into the rebels firing their first missile at a U.S. warship, the USS Carney. Thankfully, the Carney shot down the missile without incurring any injuries or damage, but the brazenness of the attack says a lot, especially in the face of joint U.S. and U.K. retaliatory strikes on their strongholds just the other week. Again, Biden's deterrence isn't deterring anything. We also lost 2 U.S. Navy SEALs this month as they tried to intercept Iranian warheads bound for Yemen off the coast of Somalia. So excuse me for not buying it when Biden acts like he has things covered. He assured us a few weeks ago that Iran wouldn't try anything else because he delivered the message, but must have gotten lost in the mail because here we are now. And adding insult to injury, listen to how his own press secretary is acting like the fallen service members were foot soldiers of the administration's political whims instead of brave patriots honor-bound to the Constitution and to this nation more fundamentally than whatever political party happens to be in charge. Listen.
What I will say, obviously our deepest condolences go out, and our heartfelt condolences go out to the families who lost three folks who are military folks, who are brave, who are always fighting, who are fighting on behalf of this administration, of the American people. Obviously, more importantly, we lost those souls, as the president said yesterday when he was in South Carolina.
She even short-circuited there. But remember, in the same vein as you just heard, it was General Mark Milley and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, the former House Speaker, who were colluding after January 6th to take away President Trump's access to the nuclear codes. And then NBC ran that recent piece we covered, talking about how the military should defy President Trump if he gets reelected. So the only party flirting with the idea of a military coup are the Democrats, not President Trump's brand of conservatism. And who knows? I'm sure establishment Republicans would join the Democrats in that effort. They are very trigger happy after all. As Biden ponders exactly how to respond, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham led the charge in urging him to go straight to war with Iran by bombing them. When hasn't that ever been Graham's response? Now, this is the same guy who was visiting Ukraine over the past decade to support Western-backed coups, which led to the massive war we see there today with an estimated hundreds of thousands dead on each side. So Lindsey Graham is about as trustworthy on matters of war as Al Gore is when it comes to predicting the weather. Joining us now to discuss is William Ruger, the president of the American Institute for Economic Research. William, thanks for being here tonight.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Right, so there's a lot of talk about hitting Iran right now. If that means going to full war with them, is that wise to counsel at this time? Because it doesn't seem like it.
No, the last thing the United States needs is another forever war in the Middle East. But look, neoconservatives, you just referenced them. They've been eager for a conflict with Iran for decades. Remember after 9/11, there was talk of the axis of evil, and it's not to say that the Iranian regime is any good, but there's been a consistent desire for warfare with Iran that has been espoused by neoconservatives in particular. And it's something that we should not look kindly towards. This is not a war that is in America's interest. That doesn't mean that Iran or Iranian-backed proxies should be allowed to hit Americans with impunity, but it means that we should be very careful about escalating this beyond our interests. And one way to do this is to follow what President Reagan did, which is to get out of Lebanon when it wasn't in our interest to stay there, when Americans had been harmed. We should take that counsel